Where is the... Hello, everybody. Still working on this. My video's gone for the intro. So, there is no intro. What's happening here? There we go. Haha! We are live! Coming in with the intro. So 10 minutes of bass. Let the movie play out. And welcome. All right, everybody, welcome to Sim Racing Online. This is the round 3. Let me get my stuff together here. Where is my banner? We're waiting here to get on board on the server. We are at Monza today. I'll let this roll through here while I get loaded up here. Unfortunately for me, my game didn't start, so I'm set back here. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to let Woody talk to you a little bit about today's car and track combo. Go ahead, Woody.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Monza, probably one of the most popular online and in real world. It's hosted many Grand Prix and many endurance race over the past number of years. I did look up some of the stats of it. So in some form or another, there have been endurance races since 1949, which is longer than I thought it would be. The layout has considerably changed over that period of time, but we are using the modern layout, which is 2023, and we are using the WC P2's unrestricted series that are used in ELMS, and we're also using the LM GT3 cars. So we'll see on track a lot of different LM GT3s. It is just the Orica for the ELMS rather. But we've got some McLarens, we've got some Mustangs, we've even got some Lamborghinis on track for the GT3s. But we're set for about 90 minutes of racing here at Monza. Just watching some of the guys going around and do some practice, and putting in lap times of 1:37 for the P2s and a 1:50 for the LM GT3s. We may be a bit low on numbers for the P2s, but if anything happens like what happened last week with Fuji, then it's going to be dramatic all the way up until the flag. So in terms of where we are in championship, we've got 2 championships on the go. So the LMP2 championship is headed by Nick Westy at the moment with 83 points, and Philip Pichler in second with 66. So a little bit of a gap, but we've got plenty of time to catch up because we've got 8 rounds for this championship. And in third, unfortunately, John van der Geest is not here this evening, so he's going to drop some points in the championship, currently on 57. With the GT3 championships, again, we are going to be missing the championship leader, who is Michael Rizzo. He's on 82 points, so he's going to drop significantly down the order. Lars Hagman in second with 70 points, and Hugh Smith in third with 63 points. So the championship is very, very close. We've got a number of rounds to take us through this championship, taking us all the way to April. So this is Monza, and in a couple of weeks' time, we will be going to the flagship event for this series, which is Le Mans, and we will be doing a simulated 24-hour in 120 minutes. Then for round 5, we'll be heading to Bahrain, which will be our first night race. Round 6, we'll be heading to Portimao on March 22nd. April the 5th, we'll be heading to 2 bonus rounds for Sebring for round 7, and then our last round on the 19th of April will be COTA, the Circuit of the Americas. So that should be a fun finale for all of these guys.
Yeah. So, with all my technical difficulties, I finally got the server to load. So, how's everybody doing on that side? I'm trying to get the gear up. Okay, there we go. Yeah, we are really short today on drivers. So, let's see if anybody shows up. I know it is for us. It is the Super Bowl weekend here. I'm not seeing any cars yet on my server here. So everybody's in the pit. Lauren Martin
Is
might
it
be.
just the Americans that have disappeared, or?
Yeah, maybe. There we go. Okay. Wow. So big issues here on my side. I apologize, everybody. Get that out of the way. All right. It finally fired up, and here we are. Let's see if I can get this stuff to work. I gotta go refresh the browser. There we go. We're back in action now. All right. So like you were saying, we got like just a minute or so left here. 39 seconds before we go to quali. So at least we're on pace to get quali started on time, Neil. Sorry about that. Let's see, we got some views here to check out. All right, that all seems to be working. All right, timer is going to count down, and we are going to head on into quali. So the one thing I think of sim racing at Monza, I mean, as a sim racer, especially for if you're new, it's that turn, that first turn chicane where it's just a huge pileup. It's just constant carnage there. Woody, what do you think we're going to see today at turn one with these two classes?
I mean, it doesn't matter what class it is. Monza just seems to create, I don't know, people go into turn one thinking they can carry more speed than they can. I mean, turn one has been different over a number of years, and I personally I don't like the layout that they've stuck with for the first chicane. But it's pretty much a hard stop at turn one. It's a right angle turn for turn one, and then the next part of the chicane slightly more than that in an angle. So it certainly splits up the field, but I would imagine these guys are probably going to be a bit more tentative because they do have 90 minutes of racing ahead of them. If this was just a 20-minute race, then things might be a little bit different. But it's a simple course in terms of layout, but in not terms of technicality, because you've got to carry a lot of speed out of some of these faster sweeping corners like the LMU 1 and LMU 2, because everything heads into a long straight where you've got to keep momentum, and then out of the last turn, the parabolica, you've got to carry all of that speed down the main straight.
Yes, and into that parabolic. That's another place where sometimes if you're a little bit new, man, you just don't know how much speed you can actually carry into that. And of course, it depends on the mod, the car, the setup. But yeah, lots of action here at this beautiful historic track. The 397 guys did a really great job on this track too. It looks beautiful. So that said, I think he's into Lesmos now here. I remember in the old days driving the old F1 and R Factor 1. You could just floor it around Lesmos most of the time. You just hit that apex, and that thing would grip in there with all that downforce. So, not quite as much downforce here on these GT3s, and the P2s have a lot of downforce, but so it should be an entertaining race, and nonetheless, as we're watching a couple of outlaps here.
Yeah, I think the P2s for definite have got to avoid some of the curbs. You can run over some of the curbs, particularly in the latter half of the lap going into Ascari. Some of those curbs are flat, but going through some of the slower chicanes, the P2s have got to be very careful because they don't want to ground out on those curbs and end up in the wall. But slipstreaming is going to be very big today. So find a partner and see if they can lead you around the track for 90 minutes. But we saw last week at Fuji the top two, or the top three was not settled until the final lap. We had someone, the positions 2 and 3 in the P2s, I think, overtook each other on the final couple of turns. So it was dramatic all the way up until the line, and I don't think this one's going to be any different.
So Andrew Harper had some custom skins. I don't know if this custom skin got loaded or not. That looks like a default skin, but he painted some beautiful skins, and I was hoping to see him in here today.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Andrew Harper is got a custom skin. I think if the icon is not there on the tower, then it means that they are not running a custom skin. I did see a couple of previews that a couple of people were showing off, but maybe they forgot to load it when they loaded in. But
we had it is a beautiful skin. It's got some screens up on the side, so maybe he's not a pro member, but he could paint. Who knows? He's got to be pro to get your skin on the server. As we look now at Nick Westy, got 32.9 in Sector 1. It's the lowest Sector 2 score. I mean, Sector 2. 32.6 in Sector 1. 33, 37 for the other two. Check it on. Just about where he's at.
They will be the first to set a time as well.
And there it is, a 137.6, if I'm not wrong. See, we got right behind him, Lauren Martin. Go ahead.
Nick Westy and Lauren Martin were setting the pace in practice, but I think Lauren Martin was one of the guys that was showing off his custom skin. You can see a nice martini skin on Lauren Martin.
Yeah, okay, so this, I think, is the skin that also was made by Andrew. He told me him and his teammate. And that looks like he says was a martini skin. So this is some of Andrew's work here. Nice. He probably just didn't get it on himself or something, or who knows. You know how it is. So this lap is conceded. Let's see where else we got. A couple of the GT3s as they're starting to separate. Bruno Neves just got on the server, so he's a late arriver, but he's on his outlap in the P2. So they're starting to show up a little bit. Super Bowl weekend in the States here, and my Seattle Seahawks team is in the Super Bowl, so we'll be having those activities here a little bit later today, so that'll be fun for me. After this debacle of the server not starting, or my game not starting. Green in Sector 1 for Philip Pitchler. Now, during all the mayhem when Woody was explaining all this great stuff to us, we didn't get a chance then to see it, so I'm going to show you now the LMP2 scores while there's a little bit of screen time here. So, as he was saying, there is Nick Westy, Pitchler, Vanderkees, Bruno Neves, Tanner Selby, who's also not here today, Lauren Martin, who we're watching now, down there in 6th position, so, you know, plenty of time. Like I said, it's early on in this series. And then the GT3 totals as well. You can see Rizzo's been dominating. And Lars Hegman right there behind him. But as the points go, not too far back, right? So Hugh Smith from Ace Motorsports, Lewis Middleton and Grant Jones, top 5. So there are your scores as we watch the rest of quali here. 15-minute session, and it is private, so I got to find these guys as they're going. Barrett Erickson in that Lexus. Nice pew, red and black paint job, really nice. It's like he's completely botched the first sector, but then he nailed the second sector. So he's not really quite yet set a time lap, but we do have Dino Pierre coming across the line now. He's purple and purple and purple, so he might put something up there for us as I'm going to put the tower into multiclass. So we're going to lose all of of the drivers, but we're going to get the top 5 in each class. So there you go.
Yeah, so Michael Russo in the GT3 class has pretty much been dominating since he hit the track in round 1, and I think he's been very lucky in some of the races where he's been able to pull away from the field, and the rest of the guys have been swabbling over 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So, but maybe he's taking a little bit of a break to give other people a chance. Maybe give some other people some glory, but
right.
But we'll see what the LMG GT3s can do at this round. I believe there could be some Monza specialists among the drivers today, but we'll see when they head down to turn 1, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm still a little bit nervous about turn 1.
I mean, what's the worst that can happen?
We're already done. We only got 18 drivers. Let's see how many can finish it. Look at Dino taking it deep into Varante. Is that Refuto? How does that? Is that Retufio? Can't pronounce that Italian words.
I wouldn't hazard a guess at even trying to pronounce it in Italian. But down the back straight to the Parabolica, which is easier to pronounce.
Yeah, quite more common. Trick is to get that thing on the slot and then hit the gas as soon as you can, get that exit. He's done a really good job of that. And he took himself into 2nd for the GT3s under Middleton. Middleton's leading the board right now with that 150.029, I think. That's the best of the GT3s. Westy's still leading the top, and he's parked right now. Let's see, here comes Harper, who's 3rd. We'll watch him. He's going to cross the line here.
I wonder how skinny these rear wings are on these cars. I think you've got to run at absolute minimum and then hope that you can get through some of these chicanes. But how conservative do you want to go? Because you don't really want to be a sitting duck on these straights, do you?
No. That reminds me of our race we had yesterday, Woody, in the SRO Corse Ace. That Maserati versus BMW M4. That was something else chasing you around. I'm so bummed I ran out of fuel because there was no way to get around. But I could catch you in the twisties, and then that thing just had some grunt, man, and it just pulled away every time on the straight. There was no way because that's the last sector to the start finish. So I'm not.
Horsepower is king. It saved me. It absolutely saved me.
It was so amazing chasing you around. It was so awesome, though. Oh, Tanner made it. Tanner's in. Okay, Tanner made it. Yeah.
But I mean, we've seen Monza in various forms. It's one of the most popular circuits in sim racing in general. It always seems to attract huge crowds when there are like random races and things. So I think the simpler the layout, it seems to attract. Although Spa is kind of very similar, but Monza just seems to be it's called the Temple of Speed. Is that his nickname?
Yes. Yep.
So it's that for a reason.
Exactly. When Tanner's green and green, he's going to put up his best lap, it looks like here. Will he make it to the top 5? And he does. He puts himself in 3rd promptly. Very nice run there. All right, we are just under 5 minutes now. Take a look down. We got Lewis Middleton leading the GT3s. Above Gino Piera and Hugh Smith. We haven't checked out Hugh. Let's see, where is Hugh? He's in that Mustang. And he's, this is not going to be his lap to take a position with those, as you can see by the sector times he's off. So let's check on Fischler. Where is Fischler? He is just coming out of sector 2. Here, just about in the middle here. Also not his best first sector. You can see he's off by half a sec. Anybody's going to...
We usually have a couple of brothers, relations in this race, don't we, Rob?
Yeah.
Just for extra confusion. Lewis Middleton is normally He's normally got either his brother or his dad, or I can't remember, but he's on his own this time, so no family backup. But we do have the Hagman brothers in the GT3. Lars currently in 4th place. In fact, he dropped down just as I said that. The commentator's curse, 5th place, and Bjorn Hagman in 8th. So we usually have the family here, but not this time.
Yeah. As Pitster pulls into within 3/10, that was his purple and purple and purple, but not enough to get Westy, so nicely done.
I think the private qualifying as well adds a little bit, because you would expect that people will go out in groups. You see it in all forms of motorsport, particularly F1, where no one wants to go out alone. But private qualifying, it's pure pace, whether you can put a lap together on your own without draft. And it just shows you the pure pace of the driver rather than who can catch a draft and who can't. But 10 minutes and only 2 minutes left on the clock. And that's a couple of laps for these guys.
Right. So the 137 average lap time, 138, let's call it the average. Get time to get around if they've already out there. So this will be it for a lot of these guys. There's Jill. She's in a temp car because he came in after me. That'll change when the server changes. So let's see. Andrew's out. Nobody's out there. Pitchler's still trying. And so is Sylvie. So Sylvie's a little bit off in sector 2. Let's see where Pitchler. He's just best his time by almost a half a second in sector 1 for him. Seven 752. Must have had a track cut. Yeah, it's 0.3 off, so that's normal. I'm seeing that right. So last chance to dance here with these guys if they come across. Lauren Martin giving up on his lap. Bruno, temp car. Andrews parked it. Tanner. See what he can do. The Lesmos, let's see, keep it 3rd, drop. Yeah, he's going to keep it 3rd. That was nicely done.
I think there's just 2 P2s left on the track and put in their final lap times. Philip Pichler is 1, and Tanner Salvi is the other, who's currently in 3rd. So that's coming to the end of the lap.
Yeah,
Pichler is coming out the final corner. He's personal best in the 1st, but slightly down in the 2nd. I don't know if he's going to push him up. Not quite. He's still 0.3 away from pole. But Tanner Selvi, personal best in the 1st and slightly down in the 2nd, but this should maybe get a little bit closer to Pichler, but we'll have to see when he crosses the line.
That's it. So there you have it. There is your starting order. See if we can get a good shot here.
So just two GT3s out on track. I don't think they're going to improve. Bjorn Hagman is not a personal best in his 1st sector, and he's a personal best in his 2nd, but it looks like he's probably not going to, just using this as maybe an extra test, just to get some laps in. But currently in 8th place, and he goes up to 7th with a personal and the fastest sector of all in the last sector. That's quite surprising.
For him, as we're looking at the starting order now.
And
are these guys not set yet? The GT3s?
So Lars Hagman crosses the line and goes up to 5th, and that is it.
Yeah. And then Lewis Middleton 7th. Dino Piara in 9th, and Hugh Smith in 10th. Lars Hagman in 11th, and Tasker in 12th. Then we have Ollie and Bjorn in that next row. And Ericsson in the Lexus and Simon Bacon in that Mustang.
Teams and drivers go to the grid.
And there is Larry Thomas and Gilles De Silva bringing up the tail end there. So there is your starting order. All right. We are about ready to start here. As you heard the announcement, they have gone out to the grid. And let me get this information. I just want driver. And 1v1 battles. And we are set for the start. Okay. Let me.
There's going to be a short formation up. They're starting on the back straight here. So these guys are going to would go all the way down to the last turn in the parabolica and then accelerate out and cross your fingers for turn 1.
Right. Shot from the back of the field. The GT is lining up a little bit. All right, just about 10 seconds left before they start rolling. And let's get everybody. Still a couple cars in the pits. De Silva's still in there. He's got 5 seconds to get out. Come on, Gilles. And he's
Make sure you have your session info on, Rob.
My what?
Your session info, so we can see how long they've got to go.
Yeah. I'm on 2 different screens here, so there it is.
Just to make things extra complicated for you.
Yeah.
So there should be a little bit of gap between classes, so hold on to your hats, everybody.
Yes. They're getting ready. The line is right there. Props pit in. See who gets the jump here.
Green flag.
And they are off. Here we are, round 3 at Monza. And look at the start by Pitchler jumps out in front. There was a GT3 car. It was Gilles in the pit that took over. And look at Tanner Garner for the cut on the inside. Oh my God. Was that right? Hello. He's got to get a penalty for that. Yeah, he's slowing down to let him by. Okay. Attaboy, Tanner. What, he probably was also avoiding incident perhaps. But look at the ELMP2s go there. They stride out with Wesley still in the lead. Let's jump back to GT3s real quick. Make sure everybody makes it through. Led by Lewis Middleton, Grant Jones, and Dino Piara. Top 3 as they get twisted up into there. Let's check the back a little bit. These guys are all making it through. Very good. All right, back to the pointy end. Wesley's just getting out. A little bit of clean air in front of him there. And we've got Tanner now regained himself. Put himself right back behind Lauren Martin. So, sportsman like, I'm sure was realized that he made a mistake there. Obviously fixed it instantly. Guys are tight back here. They're pretty tight. That is the tail end of them. And the GT3s are just as tight. They're hanging in groups there. Excuse me, so you can see them. Tail end. Lewis heads into that parabolica. Tanner putting the pressure on Lauren Martin. Go for the pass at the inside. This is danger. Danger. Get out of it wisely. So, seeing some nice conservative driving here from the start of this 90-minute race. So smart on the driver's behalf.
Yeah, the LMGT3s were particularly clean going into turn 1. I didn't see any smoke or any dust. Not like the problems with the P2. But I think Tanner Selby didn't judge his braking. He felt right. I just need to miss everyone and miss the chicane completely. But top 3 breaking away with the LMGT3s.
And Hugh Smith and Neil Tasker are door to door there in that last segment, and a nice little fight here going on. You see Lars just ahead now, so it's Hugh Smith. Well, that was some good little driving going on in there. Wow.
I think we did in that shuffle there. I think Lars may have come to grief and was dropped down to the back of the GT3 pack in 11th, which was unfortunate because he was in 5th at that moment. So probably just a side by side, trying a bit ambitious, but he's got some ground to make up now.
Yeah, he was the one that lost out on that. He's chasing down Larry Thomas, I believe. Is that Larry right in front of him there? So yeah, Sylvia getting ahead of Lauren Martin, taking him down the straight. If I know Tanner, he's got very little wing on that car. But look, Lauren is not giving up, but decided to live for another lap. Just let him have it for now. As you can see, Tanner had a little bit of a mistake there.
Yeah, it's a question of whether they keep fighting or whether they work together. Looks like maybe it got a little bit tight. A flash of the lights from Lauren Martin, maybe he felt that it was a little squeezed a little bit. But these prototypes, if they're out on their own, they might mean they drop back. So it might be worth just cooling your head and sticking together to try and catch the pack in front, because the pack is disappearing.
Yes.
Between the top 4 in the P2s.
All the
top 3 are pretty much breaking away in the GT3s, and it is 4th, 5th and 6th again battling over those lesser places. But as you say, Hugh Smith out in his Mustang, and he seems to be in a little bit of a void. He's got no drafting partner, so there's a pack of cars right behind him, headed by Neil Tasker.
Yeah, these guys should work together, like you said, and be able to catch them. That Mustang's got a lot of torque. Let's see, I'm trying to set up the track map for you guys.
And it's no real surprise that in the LMGT3s that it is the top 3 is all McLarens. McLarens have been said to be quite powerful on the power circuits in this game at the moment until the box gets adjusted. But so top 3 are McLarens, and then it's a lonely Mustang, and we're seeing, I think that's Bjorn coming into the pits.
Bjorn pitting early, so perhaps.
So that's very early.
Yeah, and that was quick. He's out now. So did he forget to add fuel? That would have been a longer stop. So we see how Westy is stretching out his legs there.
So,
and then back to
So it did look like possibly a drive-through. I didn't see him actually come to a halt. So maybe he had a jump start penalty or something. But we didn't see it on the tower.
Right. When I just spewed onto him, it looked like he was almost turning out from his pit in, but perhaps not. Let's see if this doesn't.
Maybe what are you going to remember with drive-through is that if you accidentally go into your pit box, then you do not take your drive-through. So maybe he was in autopilot and he forgot that he doesn't need to go to his box, because that would have invalidated a drive-through because he can't race at the same time.
We will never know. But I have activated the track map, so you kind of see where the groups are now. As long as I don't toggle back to OBS, we'll be fine. It's a day of mishaps. But it is Super Bowl Sunday, so we're already partying over here. And yeah. This race, Barrett Erickson there. Barrett had a great race, but these guys are just, it's got the pressure on now. It looked, was that Hugh, I thought, had Tasker right on him for a minute. Then Ollie. Then Barrett. All right, so nice job by these guys. Meanwhile, up 6, Andrew Harper. No. All right, I had a yellow up there. I see it has been handled.
It looks like the top 3 of the GT3s have broken out of draft range of each other. They're not particularly working together to make themselves go faster. Maybe they were suffering a little bit from understeer going through some of these faster corners and wanted to kind of just set their own pace. But we've usually seen in the first couple of rounds that Grant Jones and Dino Pereira are normally nose to tail for most of the race, and I mean, they look like they're teammates, but I don't think they are physically teammates. But we've not seen team orders in any of these races so far.
Not yet.
But Hugh Smith is normally the lone Mustang, all out on his own, and he's out on his own in this one as well.
Yeah, he's very fast in that car. So look at how spread out the.
Some of these other cars.
Yeah.
Some of these other cars are going to have advantages on other tracks. It's not, Monza is just particularly favours the McLaren at the moment.
As we take a look at Nick Westy here, your LMP2 leader, and these guys, if you can tell by the track map there, they are pretty evenly spread out. Here's Pichler, just behind Pichler. We got Bruno right there as they come through this high-speed section, and then Tanner. Tanner had another excursion. He's got off-road tires today. Just checking out Monza. And then Martin. So it's interesting, the gaps are consistent and growing a little bit. So let's check on Bjorn Hegman. I think he's in the pits again. So I don't know what's going on with him, but it looks like he's retired. So Bjorn, maybe he had
maybe a technical problem or something.
Yeah, I think he might have, the way that his car's still sitting in the pits like that. That's usually what that means. See, here comes Westy to the tail end here on Gilles as he comes into focus. And the Lesmos here, not a good spot to be. If we can just hang on to the end here. There you go. They let him through. That's nice. I mean, it's kind of tough to get your car out of position in Lesmos. If you're hitting it right, you're just wanting to be on throttle.
Yeah, thankfully Monza has plenty of places to pass if you catch the car in the right place, but you don't want to go side by side through many of these turns, and Lesmo is not one of them. But Westy seems to be setting the pace with a 138.3. It was around about a second slower than his qualifying pace, but he has been leading early on in the first couple of rounds, but mistakes have come into play later on in the race. So I don't know if fatigue comes into play, because 90 minutes is quite a long time to be racing, and I don't think there is going to be any particular weather disruptions this time. But the track about 39 degrees. It's quite warm, quite a low air temperature of 22, so it's not like they're going to be burning up any of the tyres. But looks like a lot of these guys are now settled in and trying to pace themselves for the next 80 minutes of racing.
Yeah, as we watch Lars and Barrett Eriksson battling for 7th position. Some pretty good racing going on right here. So Lars, the lone Hergman out.
Yeah, Lars a bit out of position though. So he did knock himself down a bit early on, so he was just trying to recoup some pace, but close between these two.
Yeah, still have 77 minutes. Here comes Westy. The leader gets through.
Looked like Lars was cheekily trying to get a draft off a P2 there.
It did, didn't it? Hey, any way you can get it, man. As you can see, these two are sticking together. If Barrett and Lars work together, they might be able to catch Benson and Tasker up there. But then you got to break it up when the P2s come through. You know, don't let it spoil you. Let him through. There he goes.
Yeah, Barrett seems to be running in the 152s. I think Lars can possibly go faster into the 151. So it's possibly holding him up, but it's hard when the P2s come through and your sight then is set on when to let the car behind through rather than passing the car in front.
Big difference there.
Does look like we've had our first retirement. Bjorn Hanman hasn't retired, but George Silva has, so I don't know if he had a particular technical problem. But I believe he did start from to do with the field, perhaps from the pits. But he's our first GT3 retirement.
Sad to see he'll go. He's so helpful. He's got our local painter. He's painted some great skins. In fact, the other series that you're also broadcasting, the RF2, he's painted most of the liveries that I know John and myself were using for those awesome cars.
Yeah, and that will be next week. So we'll be going from modern day back to the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, that's a great mod. I hope the guys picked it back up or somebody picks it up because it isn't finished, but it's 90%, right? Very
yeah, it just needs a little bit of a tweak here and there.
Yeah.
A bit rough around the edges, but it's usable.
I'm seeing a lot of smoke. Did you see that? Somebody kicked up some dust, and there they are. They are right.
It's a P2 around.
Yes, it was a P2. And is it Andrew? No.
Possibly Bruno, I think, because it looks like he's just getting going now.
Yeah, I think he was. He's in the white car. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right. Yeah, I lost that gap.
So through the shuffle, Lars has got around Barrett Eriksson. So we can now stretch his legs a bit, but still the P2s are causing him a little bit of trouble, but thankfully catching him on the straight. So, but as I said at the start, these are ELMS P2s, so they unrestricted from the Le Mans versions, about 600 to 590 horsepower, something like that. And they're possibly not as good as the LMGT3s on the brakes. So I saw a couple of P2s braking in front of an LMGT3s, and they nearly had to take avoiding action. But obviously the top speed and the downforce matters with these prototypes, and they can just breeze past on these straights. So the next target for Lars Hagman is Ollie Bateson. He's right under the rear wing, a nice part of the circuit. He's got the whole back straight to be able to pass. Do not touch that curb on the inside because it will flip your car.
Yes.
I've seen it.
I think is that Andrew going through? Yeah, I believe so. So yeah, Betson all over Tasker now. as the ELMPs are just spreading out. That's one thing, like you said, Monza, it's the long legs. They're just gonna bring out the differences. There's gonna be some gaps. As he makes a nice move on the inside and just takes that spot right away from Batson. So Hagman now moves himself up into 6th.
Yeah, it does look like the Lambo has a lot of pace here at Monza, so maybe it's another one of those cars with a huge top speed, and probably the handling in the corners is not too good, but it's lucky there's only 11 corners at Monza and plenty of straights.
Yeah, I was going to mention that before I had all the technical difficulties. That how many turns? 11 turns, just 11 turns, and about 3 of them are really nasty. So. Let's see Lauren Martin after his little incident. We got Bruno. He's closing, but still that gap. There is the gap, so you can see just keeping him in sight. But a consistency is what's going to do it for you here at Monza. These cars, they're pretty balanced. So driving consistency and of course pure horsepower, like you mentioned earlier, big part of it.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much a P2 can catch up to a GT3 with a little bit of draft, but just seeing Lauren Martin lap down the car, I believe that's 3rd place, just coming into the Parabolica. So the entire P2 field has nearly lapped the entire GT3 field just in the first 20 minutes of this race. So there's plenty more lapping to come.
Right.
It's not so. Oh, was that a little bit of an off there? Tanner Selby, I think.
Actually,
Bruno,
was it Sylvie that knocked him?
Mixed up.
The foam blocks got knocked, so was that Tanner ahead of them that did that? Because they were bouncing. I was on the cockpit view, and all of a sudden, right in front of Bruno was the blocks.
Yeah, I saw it got stuck under Bruno's P2, and you've got to be very careful with some of the trackside objects, particularly like the cones and the things in the Mon. They can actually get stuck under the car, and you can actually vault you into the air. So you've got to be very careful. So I'm hoping that foam block got punted outside of track limits. You don't want to inadvertently run over that, and your car just becomes a I don't know, a pair of skis instead of wheels.
Tanner. Yeah, I think I don't know if it was him or not, but somebody broke through that first chicane, and that's where the marker blocks got tumbled. 13th and 14th place overall is Barrett and Ollie, so we got a nice little battle here. This is 6th and 7th in class, or 7th and 8th, I'm sorry. Then we got Harper getting the GT3 leader a lap down. Lewis Middleton leading these GT3s. He's got a nice gap there.
Yeah, Barrett Ericsson, I think one of the only drivers that has taken the Lexus. Is very distinctive with its engine note. It's to be lacking a little bit of horsepower at Monza, but it doesn't mean it doesn't sound good.
Right.
When it's going around.
Get one of those external views, you know.
But he seems to be matching Ollie Bateson's pace, and he is in one of the faster cars. Ollie Bateson being in the McLaren, so he's able to keep up with him. But I think if he maybe drifts out of that 0.6, 0.7 window, then he's maybe going to be struggling for a little bit of pace.
Where did you get that note? We got that engine note going now. Yeah, it's a little gassy sounding.
It kind of It's like what I would imagine a Corvette would sound like, but
yeah, Corvettes are pretty throaty. Different power plant, but I used to sell Corvettes. I worked for Chevy for years. We got to drive them around, and I worked for Ford too, and I've driven the Shelby Cobra 500. I had got to roast all the little nipples off the tires, so it was brand new, and I accidentally did a 360 in the back lot with it and knocked all the nubs off for the owner before he got there.
It looks like we've had our first retirement for the P2s. I think Bruno came to grief. Was in, I think, 4th place at that a lap ago, but he's now unfortunately DNF'd. So did he come unstuck with the foam?
Maybe. You could be onto something there. He was the one that had the off in the sand earlier. So maybe he was having some other tweakage. I don't know, you know. It's a long race. Pull that thing in and get 2 minutes of repair and get a finish. But I guess since the points pay all the way down anyway.
Yes, it's worth sticking with it because there is 40 points for the win. I think there is some bonus points on offer for these guys for pole positions and fastest laps as well. So it's worth sticking around for these full 90 minutes, even if you feel like you're off the pace.
We have a fastest lap award for both quali and the race, so you get extra points for the race and the quali with the fastest lap in class. So Ollie, let's see if I can get that shot from Ollie of the rear. I want to see the front of Barrett's car. Here, this will give it to us. One more. There it is. So we've seen the back of that Lexus. Now we get to see the front of it. And the front of it with the wing. So he is keeping pace with that McLaren, but I don't know if he can get around it. Take something. Meanwhile, the fast guys, Lawrence, 4th place. These guys are all spread out. The closest gap is Fischler to Westy, though, as far as P2s go. The rest of the cars are really spread out. And Westy is now coming up to Larry Thomas in the GT3 class to get around. See what that looks like. Good spot to catch him right there. Then Pitchler should hopefully be able to get him on the next straight. Pitchler through the Parabolica. Oh, it's going to be tight. There he goes. This is where it's always nail biting. Could be a code brown up here at the pinch off zone. But Larry is a pretty savvy driver and will probably realize what's up here. But no, he's got to go through with him now. Get him at Curva Grande. There he goes anyway. All right. Nice job, Larry, getting out of the way. Meanwhile, this is the closest battle that we have, is Barrett Erickson chasing down Ollie. Here or there.
Yeah, it seems like these two guys are slightly more evenly matched than Lars was with Ericsson. They're both in the 52, so they don't look like they're particularly slowing each other down. I don't see any particular defensive shakes being shown by Ollie. So Ollie is comfortable just going his own pace and having that lovely sounding Lexus behind him. But I don't know if they're possibly going faster than they could alone. But as I said, it is the closest battle on track. But good points to be had in LMGT3 tonight because the championship leader is not here. So Lewis Middleton is currently leading the LMGT3 class. He's currently down in 4th in the championship. So this will be good points for Lewis if he can just keep it going. He's got a lead of about 2.6 seconds at the moment from Jones. And then another 5 seconds back to Pereira. So some good points on hand.
Yeah.
I usually like to fill in some of the points as we go along, but I don't like to say it out loud. Don't want to give them the commentator's curse, because we have in the past been congratulating drivers that have been up the order, and then in the last couple of laps they've fallen off the road. So I don't want to preempt good results.
It must have been something we said yesterday that why John's not here today. We jinxed him somehow in yesterday's race. All right, well, just about.
So John Van der Geest is in the P2s, third in the championship, so he's missing out on some points.
Yes. About 62 minutes to go here for the first 30 minutes. And I believe these guys are just pacing each other here, Barrett and Ollie. Barrett's just content to hang out here and then maybe try to make a move towards the end, see how the tire wear goes, see how the cars change when the fuel load lightens up a little bit. Then,
we did see a couple of pit stops at Fuji, particularly half distance. I can't remember if we really saw anybody trying a two-stopper, but tyre wear shouldn't really be too much of an issue at Monza compared to Fuji, because it is mostly flat out most of the way around, so not really too many corners that we can shave off some of the tyres, but we'll see who blinks first. It's usually quite interesting because other people do follow, but it depends what fuel loads, as you say, people are running. It's battle between Barrett and Ollie has just been broken up temporarily in turn 1 by a P2. So I'm looking down the grid at some of our regulars that race with us at SimracingOnline. And obviously, if you want to race with us, you're free to do so. If you head to SimracingOnline.co.uk, you can sign up to a lot of our races. We're currently doing this Le Mans series, of course, in Le Mans Ultimate. We have a varied number of series that I take part in as well in Automobilista 2, and of course we run R Factor 2 as a main sim, but we are branching out into AC Evo. It is in, I would say, early access beta at the moment, so it's a little rough around the edges with the results collecting and game itself, but we're spoilt for choice with the sim racing at the moment, so pick your poison.
We really are.
I believe even a couple of members are even trying Race Room as well, so there's plenty of choice if you want to have a go. And we do run a multitude of different kinds of series as well. It's not just sports cars, there's open wheel stuff, new and old. So if you want to head to SimRacingOnline, join us. So Nick Westey still leading the P2s by about 4.6 seconds. He can, I would say, he can just stroke it home, but currently the leader of the championship, he's got no particular worry about Pichler behind. His P2 in the championship, I don't think he's here today. No, Pichler is actually second in the championship at the moment, but his nearest competitor, Tony Talviti, is not here today. He is currently 8th in the championship, but he was the one that got overtaken on the last lap. I kind of had to hold my breath for that last lap.
Right.
That was Philip Pichler put in an absolute stunner of a move on one in the last sector at Fuji, but so Tanner Selby in 3rd at the moment, with Lorne Martin and Andrew Harper in 5th. We are quite low on numbers in the P2s today, which is kind of unusual, but as you say, it is Super Bowl weekend, so we are seeing that maybe some of our US drivers are not here today, or maybe even international drivers. It's always a shame when it kind of mixes with a real world event, but it is what it is. But we've still got a field of drivers that are showing us how it's done on track.
So it looks like the groupings as Westy's just cleared now. He's got some clear sailing in front of him until he comes up to the next LMP2, which is Andrew Harper, which is about a sector away. So you can see these will have a few minutes of open, and then they're going to be into the traffic again. See what happens that next time around when the, but like you said, he's got really nothing to worry about except for probably traffic. Fischler right behind him there, just wide open track in front of him. Martin still getting through some of the GT3s, and then these guys will clear it up.
Looks like the gap for the GT3s has stayed pretty stable. About 3.5 seconds that Lewis Middleton's got over the rest of the field. But what started as a bunch of three is now stretched out a little bit. Got a slight yellow flag, that's 5th place. I think that's Andrew Harper just going around at the chicane. And a little bit of an off. But he's got going again. But Middleton, Jones, Pereira, Smith and Hagman now up to 5th. And he's not far away from Smith. He's only about 1.1 seconds. So we're going to see Lambo versus Mustang. See what kind of horsepower difference that they've got. In fact, 4th, 5th and 6th are really close together. So we might have a 3-way battle for 4th coming up.
Yeah, Lars is making it count there. He's got good laps in him, and then right behind him, Tasker. Heating up here for the last 55 minutes of racing. I wonder what we're going to see if anybody comes in for tires.
I mean, it'd be perfectly possible to just take fuel and double stent these tires. 90 minutes in terms of endurance isn't really a long race, if you see what I mean, compared to some of the other bigger, longer 4 hours, 8 hours. So perfectly possible to double stint tires, and it will save you a little bit of time as well. And particularly what I believe will be a low degradation circuit, it may be worth trying it if you're wanting to take a punt at it.
See the gap there to Hugh Smith. Currently Hugh is in 4th in the GT3 and Lars in 5th. So the gap to Dino Piara ahead of Hugh is still pretty large there. So see what happens. Here is Dino just cruising in 3rd. 8th overall. You see him on the track map there. So you can see right behind Hugh Smith now, just going through Parabolica, will be behind him on the straight. So, I mean, he's got plenty of time if he can get the pace to catch him.
Yeah, I was just watching the top speeds of the McLarens. They're topping out at about 268 at the end of the front straight. I don't know how that compares to others, but that is pretty quick. I think Lars Hagman has got to be within about 0.6 of the car in front to have any kind of benefit of draft. And he's just around the 1 second mark at the moment. So it won't be long before he's knocking on the door of 4th place. But again, do you want to work together, or do you want to pass in quick succession? Because they're running similar pace. Best lap of Hugh Smith 151.8, but Lars has put in a lap time of 151.3, so he can go significantly faster. But we are 53 minutes to go in this race, so the the top of the tyres have come off by now,
Right.
but I wouldn't say that they will be hugely degraded.
He's kind of able to creep up on him there. We're on board now with Lars, chasing that Mustang. And the gap's pretty consistent, but it almost looks like in the braking zone he was able to close in a little bit. See what happens to Parabolica here. He closes it, but I think that Mustang gets on the gas. There he goes. The Huracan got some juice, but I don't think it's got any more power than the Mustang anyway.
Yeah, not quite matching the McLaren, about 266 at the end of the front straight there, but he managed to catch up, particularly in the last sector. It seemed to have the legs on that Mustang, so if he can get under the rear wing coming out of the last corner of the Parabolica, then he'll be able to draft easily past, but he's got to make sure he gets this first sector correct.
And then
about 0.5 he was at the end.
So jumping on board with Tasker in the McLaren, he, I think, is also closing the gap. We're on board behind the wheel with him. And if he can catch these guys, like you say, Woody, if this thing does have that speed advantage, he might have a shot at getting these guys in the next 4 or 5 laps.
Yeah, he is running similar pace. He is in the 51s as well. I think you probably noticed that Tasker's paint job is very reminiscent of the 2009 F1 Jensen Button.
The yellow
F1 car.
Yeah. We're gonna check his speed here.
I believe his was actually I think that's actually an esports paint job for the I don't know what it says world fastest gamer on the front, so maybe it's a tribute to the world fastest gamer, unless I'm not reading it correctly.
Well, here we are down the straight, so let's and I believe that Lars has gained on Hugh. He's actually caught him. Look at this. So now that's the draft coming into play. That Mustang looks like it makes a big hole in the air. Where the Huracan has that little more sleek looking front nose diving down like a wing. Might be a little quicker through the air. That Mustang looks like an air dam.
And you could just scoop him out of the way.
Yeah, right.
But it does look like the Mustang possibly is faster in the places that the Lambo isn't. The Lambo's got all of that straight line speed, but if he can't get close enough, then he needs to be closer around Parabolica to even have a chance, because he was close, but not quite close enough to send it up the inside.
Right.
It would have to be at Hail Mary.
You can see in Lars' mirror there that you can see Tasker coming into play.
So I've just noticed as well that the lead has now changed hands to, I think a mistake from Westy has now put him behind Pichler by 4.6 seconds. So
did Westy have an off or did he pit? It would have been more than 6 seconds if he pitted, right?
yeah, he was in the lead by about 4 or 5 seconds, and now he's behind by 4 or 5 seconds. So he maybe had a little half spin, but doesn't need to be making those silly little mistakes, because I would say he's assured of the win, because he's got some of the pace. He is about 0.4 of a second in best lap time ahead of Pichler, so he can put in the lap time. But unfortunate that he's now knocked himself behind. He's got some catching up to do.
Well, it's too bad we missed that, because I'm really curious now as to how that all happened. But here is Westy. So we were on board with the GT3s. Let's jump on board with the P2s now. The speed difference. Just hitting 300 before he's on the brakes.
Around this track, it only equates to around 12 seconds, and we've seen some of the other tracks we were for the first part of the season. The gap between the P2s and the GT3s is slightly smaller, so it does vary depending on what track you're on. And this being a, and as he gets it all wrong coming into the chicane.
Yes, traffic.
Maybe he was a little ambitious, thinking he could pass in that chicane, and then got it all completely wrong.
He's probably, his hair is probably on fire right now after losing the lead, so it's just going like a madman. But look at that! Is that Thomas? Larry got just thrown around. It didn't look like anything except, you know, a little oversteer tank slapper or something coming out of the Lesmos.
Yeah, the worst place to have a little bit of an off, because as soon as you hit the gravel on that outside, then you are a passenger and heading to the inside wall. But I don't know if it looks damaged. It looks like he might be crabbing a little. He's definitely not going full speed down the back lane.
I got him. Cockpit view. He's got about 15, 18 degrees right rudder. And there we go. Okay, so he'll be heading in. But what does that do? And the leaders are heading. Look at this. Westy's in the pits. Pitchler's in the pits. Westy followed him in. So this is going to be the race out of the pits for the race, I believe. So this could be rubber, because like you said, or splash and dash.
Westy missed his pit stall as well.
Yeah, he had to back up, and I saw the jacks went up. So that's going to put Tanner Selby in the lead, and he is just probably loving that. So that is going to be the break that he needed. Excuse me. Of course, he might need some rubber too, but we'll see if these guys get out together. I'm really curious. So
this is right on schedule for half distance. It's only 46 seconds as another P2 comes in. So now a flurry of activity.
Yes. Okay, so there we go. GT3's coming in. Is that Nigel? That's your leader, your GT3 leader. So all the top leaders are in.
No, that is Larry Thomas that is coming in.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm
the same
sorry.
car as Lewis.
Yeah, Lewis is out here. Similar car. Okay. So these guys are still in here, so they're definitely taking tires and fuel as Tanner's making it down out of Sector 2, heading into Sector 3. These guys are not out of the pits yet. Pitchler gets out first. Westy is rolling, so there is your gap, actually. This is going to be good. Andrew Harper gets through. And here comes Pitchler. And Westy should be right behind him. Westy got stalled out there, didn't he? That pit speed just got him. And here comes Sylvia around Parabolica. So he's coming in too now. So this will be a race here, but seeing how Sylvia's pit stop. He's got some GT3s in front of him. Lars is in the pits. Middleton still hasn't pitted. So now, serious action going on in the pits. Tasker and Hagman. This will be it's going to give us a great finish, Woody. I think they keep them tight like this.
Yeah, it just depends how they enter the pit lane. I think Tanner Selby was quite unlucky with where his pit stall was in front of these GT3 guys. But we'll see how Hagman is going to come out compared to Hugh Smith. Tasker is just sitting behind, waiting for a mistake. And it does look like Hagman gets out in front.
Yeah.
And Hugh Smith comes off the jack and just out in front of Tasker.
All right, so there is your group. Meanwhile, where is Tanner's in? Where is Harper? Coming around, trying to get a picture. So Harper's in the Parabolica. He's got to have to come in too, isn't he? There he goes. All right, is that Middleton with him? Yeah, so the two temporary leaders, so Middleton's been a leader, but that's going to get Fischler second place, and now the lead. So
yeah, Yeah,
Delby.
so first and second in GT3 class are coming in together, slotting in just in front of each other, which is not ideal, but I believe that Lewis did have a little bit of a lead, and now I think that's third place, Dino Pereira, that's coming in right behind, and he's going to pit right in front of these guys.
So Selby was the definite winner of the pit stops. He's gotten himself in front of Westy now in second place, so he really good job coming in and getting what he needed to get back out. And you know, he was on the podium before, but now he's in second place. But he's got Westy chasing him down, so we're just gonna see what these guys are made of here for this last 42 minutes.
So we did see the two P2s that Pichler and Westy go up on the jack, so I wonder if Selby is rolling the dice and double stinting these tyres, because he made up a lot of time in that pit that pit sequence.
He did.
I don't know if he's got the pace to keep Westy behind.
Westy's flashing at him.
He's not lapping him though.
No.
It's his full position.
Look at Tanner's holding his own up there. Got a bumper cam. Coming up to some traffic. Oh, he's in. Okay. Westy's coming in again. Did he get a drive-through? Westy serving a penalty, perhaps? Nope, he's stopping. Oh, and Barrett.
It's going to be tight.
Erickson getting out. Oh, my. Oh, Westy. The worst of luck in the pits for Westy. All right, so that's going to move Lauren Martin up if he gets across the line here, I believe. Yes, indeed, to the podium for Martin. Pichler in the lead, Sylvie. Great strategy. Then we got Hugh Smith and Tasker come out of the pits together, and now this race is on as Hugh kind of takes the easy way, if you can call it that. Lars Hagman up into fifth was the winner, I think, out of that pit stop too, wasn't he? He got around Hugh. Now he's got Tanner coming up on.
We just had the last of the GT3s come in. Barrett Erickson and Simon Bacon came in together, and they've left pretty much 6 seconds apart. So that's the last of our GT3 pitters. Apart from Ollie Bateson, our provisional leader in the GT3s, is in the box at the moment. I believe he came in from about 6th, 7th position. He's staying in the pits for quite a long time, so it looks like tires and fuel.
Wow, so Westy back out now. What? Like 50 seconds off of the lead now.
So it definitely wasn't a drive-through penalty for Westy, because we saw him actually have a pit stop. So I wonder whether he's misjudged fuel and is not put in enough, perhaps, and he's had to come in again for a splash and dash. But that's very strange that he had to come in twice.
Yeah, we'll have to get to the bottom of that. Westy getting through Barrett Erickson, or trying to.
Oh, in fact, Tasker's come in, had to come in again, so I wonder if Tasker underfilled. That's pretty much scuppered his battle with Hugh Smith.
There is Hugh. Yeah, he's got some 18 seconds on him now. So Lars Hagman in fourth. Pino Piera in third. Just driving around Monza. Not really having a defender attack anyone. He's just cruising on the podium. Then we got Grant Jones just ahead of him, pretty much in the same boat. And then Lewis in the lead. So there is hope for Grant, I think, to catch Lewis. Shall see in the last 38 minutes.
They didn't pit that far apart, so they perhaps weren't going for fuel saving at all. And I mean, they weren't they weren't that close to each other when they pitted each, not saving fuel in the draft as it were. So they're pretty much on the same strategy. So it's going to have to be on pace alone if they're going to overtake each other. So has Grant Jones got anything for Lewis Middleton? They are quite about half a second away in pace. I'm looking at the lap times. Lewis Middleton has put in a stunning lap time of 150.5, and that's not been beaten by anyone on the circuit so far. So
yeah, look at that. The closest one is a good half second plus off, 51.026 for Grant Jones in second place. So what a chain of events for the Protos. That pit stop mystery. Why did Westy have to come in twice? And we missed the other part where he actually lost the lead for the first time. So mysteries of round 3.
Yeah, so he's now 50 seconds behind the lead. So he's got a hell of a deficit to catch up in the last stint of the race, because there are no pit stops left unless something dramatic happens. So it's just pure pace alone. He's got I don't know how many laps yet left out of 36 minutes, but that's not a long time to catch 50 seconds.
No. He's going to have to start getting a second or two a lap. Wow, so the Lauren, just not enough room for him, and it's going to get around these CG3s down the straight. Simple as that.
I think it's saying on my telemetry there's about just over 22 laps to go. I don't trust it, but that's the estimate it's given me. So 22 laps to catch that amount of time. He would need to be about 2 seconds faster than the leader to even have a chance. So, I mean, stranger things have happened, but as Lorne Martin comes in the pits.
Yeah, pitting from third place. So now where's that going to put Westy? That's going to bump Westy back to the podium. Okay, so I wonder what Lorne... Is that his second pit stop?
I think so. There's a couple of guys that are coming in twice, and I don't know whether they've misread the numbers on their dash for fuel numbers, perhaps, because Ollie Bateson's in again.
Yep, here he comes.
I mean, it's a pity. Unfortunately, we were a little bit out of the loop because the overlays don't show us penalties and drive-throughs and time penalties and things. So it's a little bit of a mystery to us whether they have drive-throughs or not, or stop and goes or.
Hopefully that'll be handled. So we got 3 DNFs now.
I mean, it's perfectly possible. Track limit violations, something like that.
Yeah, I think they had it all working at one point in time, but then they had to discombobulate when they rewrote the security side of that code. I remember that feature just didn't get turned back on yet, I don't think. Shared data. Far too busy, the devs, to dive back into the broadcast part. I did try that third-party broadcast that you sent me the link to, and it looks like it's got some potential, but right now it wouldn't fit for us because you have to have it running on the same machine that the game's running on. You can't remotely access it. And that's its only real setback for me using it. As we see Westy get through the traffic there. Lars.
A bit of a shake-up in the P2s for the pit stops, but the GT3s stay quite stable. There's only a couple of changes of position. But a bit of a mystery why a couple of people had to come in twice. But we'll ask after the race and see if we can get word on some of these drivers.
So Hegwin in 4th. The gap to Piera, 8th overall. He's up the track a ways, so Lars has his work cut out for him for a podium here. He's going to have to catch Dino. What is he? Some 12 seconds back, I believe.
Now, if I've done my calculations correctly, Lars could possibly take the provisional championship lead because he's currently second at the moment with 70 points, and he's only 12 behind the leader. And I believe that's about, what, 30 points for fourth place, if I've got my maths correct. So he could take the provisional championship lead, because our championship leader, Michael Rizzo, is not here today. So still points, still working his way up the order. So you've got to be there at the end to win it, but we've still got at least 6 rounds to go. So it's a longer championship than we normally do.
Yes.
Which is normally 6 rounds. But,
right. There's 2 bonus rounds.
So a couple of these, yeah, Sebring and was it Circuit of the Americas at the end? So that might catch a couple of people out.
Yeah, it might. I mean, what cars had the advantage here, what might not have such an advantage there. So that's a good difference.
And I'm also interested to see that we're doing like 90 minutes for most of these rounds, but we'll be doing 120 minutes
in 2
Le
weeks
Mans for the next round.
You have the simulated 24 hours.
Be dark to light.
Yes. We're still discussing that about the start time, so we might start at like 4 p.m. and then night comes quick and then it finishes at noon or something the next day to mix it up. We don't know yet. It might be a 1 o'clock start with a 10 a.m. finish, something like that. We don't want to go too high on the timing cell because it starts to look silly when the clouds move too fast. But with 120 minutes, we can use 10x and get the day-night cycle. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now. But we'll have all those details ironed out, and we'll post all the temperatures that we can, all the weather and stuff. I think it's kind of rainy there this time of year.
Think so?
Yeah, they have those weird, like, intermittent showers just come and go.
I mean, it should spice things up a little bit, particularly Le Mans. There's all kinds of showers and sun and showers and sun.
Yes.
So it could really spice it up because we do have a lot of fast guys in these particular series, but it's sometimes dependent on who can adapt the best. You know, when you pit for tires, whether you stay out on dries. It all adds to the fun, particularly for the viewer, but not so much the driver, I imagine.
Yeah, little white knuckles, especially since it's going to be dark. I'll have to look at the radar, the weather radar.
That adds another extra. That adds an extra element, having to figure out if that is if that's a P2 coming up behind you or not, because we don't have. Like some other series, they have like different color headlights and stuff to differentiate between, and you're pretty much blinded as well in the mirror. So, I mean, thankfully, the Monza Ultimate does have like a little bit of calculation to do with fuel and stuff like that. So you do get an idea of how much you need to fill up. But fuel saving on these longer races becomes a thing. So who can lift and coast the best? And you would imagine that a lot of these guys would definitely want to work together a lot more on a longer race than not, because you're just going to slow each other down at a mile.
Yeah, it should be a good race. I hope we get a nice full grid for that one. Lauren Martin, 4th place. Westy's got himself on the podium, as we saw from the pit stop. So it's about 33 seconds back, I think, from Westy, with 28 minutes remaining. So serious lap times. Catch that. So the way it's looking, Fischler sitting in the catbird seat. Trying to be the World Series
Do a bit of
repeat.
maths. Let's see what kind of deficit there would be. We're not counting like times for bonus points and things, but if they finish where they are at the moment, Nick Westy would actually continue the championship leader, but the margin between them will be cut significantly. And I mean, as I said before, this season is rather long, and it depends on whether people turn up for the entire 8 rounds. So drop a round and you've got a hell of a job to catch up. So
On board with Lewis as he's about to put Ericsson a lap down in the GT3 class. That speed, 250, 254, 260, 267, 270, 271 was the max. Right before he braked, though. To go back on what you were saying, they just have that speed here. Barrett in the Lexus.
It looks like Lewis is usually when you have a guy out front that's been faultless the entire time, you don't feature him an awful lot because he's just plugging away,
Yes.
going about his business, but not making any mistakes. And Lewis is doing that today, making up for lost time. Looking back at some of the results he's had, he did have a 3rd place in the first round, but unfortunately he only got 26 out of the last round, which I believe is about 5th or 6th place.
Well, he's the guy to beat today for GT3. Taking advantage of Rizzo not here. And who knows? All right. Any battles going on?
I'm seeing Hugh Smith. Hugh Smith is coming back in, so I wonder if he's short field. And now with only 25 minutes to go, he's now coming in again. So this is shuffling the order a little bit. So he's now out of that battle for 5th place because Tasker has now gone back through.
Yep, Tasker's up into 5th. There he is.
I would be very interested to know from some of these drivers what their strategy is with pit stops. I didn't actually imagine a lot of people would be pitting. Or at least pitting multiple times, so...
Yeah, it seems like there's been a lot of pit stops today. The trick, the multiples, though, is what's tricky. What's going on with these guys? I mean, the Westy had to come in.
I think if it was to do with track limits, as I said, there's only 11 turns. I would say there's the only turns you would possibly get track limits here. I mean, cut in turn 1 possibly. I mean, you can get it at the 2nd chicane, but the Lesmo's track limits, you'd have to be running so wide out of the Lesmo 2. Yeah, limited places you can get track limit penalties, and we do have possibility to have time penalties at the end, so the order that they cross is not necessarily the order that they finish either. So as soon as everyone has crossed the line, the penalties get added and the order will shuffle, so we've got to watch out for that. So after Larry Thomas's accident, he is now 2 laps down in the GT3 class, but he is back out and I suppose fully repaired. But Hugh Smith is now at the back of the GT3 field, so I don't know what happened to Hugh Smith to knock him down, because he was in the running for 5th place.
Maybe he tried to one stint the tires and he just couldn't do it. Because that was a long pit stop. It's like he took rubber. And of course, we don't have that data. I turned it on the view to number of stops, but I don't think it gives us that. But in the meantime, there's your leader.
Okay. Pit stop should be about 25 seconds or so.
And then the time going down pit lane on the limiter included in that, or just the stop?
That's just the start.
Yeah.
So probably looking at maybe 40 seconds for the entire.
Oh, let's see. We got Tanner's going to get through Dino here. I think Fiara currently last up at the podium for GT3 right there.
It looks like braking for that second chicane is proving very difficult for these P2s. They seem to be misjudging it a lot, and they've. I suppose thankfully this isn't a 90s version of the track, because that would have been a gravel trap. So they could thankfully just go over the concrete area, maybe missing some of the speed bumps and get away scot-free. But
here's Fischler getting through. That's Grant Jones. Second place, GT3. So next on the list here for the P1 leader will be Lewis, but he's got the lap car of Ericsson first, and who just gets out of the way. And that was a pretty good spot to hit him, coming out of Parabolica. Middleton right up there. So here are the two leaders side by side here in a minute. Fischler in the ELMP2 and Lewis Middleton in the GT3. We'll get a photo moment here where the two leaders pass each other. Comes Philip.
he's probably going to catch him at the most inopportune moment. It's going to be possibly overtake him around about just before the Lesmos.
Yeah, that's where they're at. And he's looking to the inside, and he takes it with ease. Hill Middleton gives him the room. Middleton's got that nice gap. 5 seconds to Jones.
So Fischler's got a gap of about 12 seconds to Tanner. So pretty significant gap, and I've been looking at the gap from Westy for third. He's only been able to close about 5 seconds to 45 to the leader, so he's for sure got a third place. I don't think 45 seconds is going to... he's only got 32 seconds to catch second, but I don't think that's possible with 20 minutes to go, but lesser things have happened in the final moments of these races.
Indeed. We have witnessed some crazy stuff so far. Westy's going to get through some more traffic here.
It got slightly complicated with Grant Jones passing Barrett Ericsson for position, and Tanner Selby coming up to join the party as well. So it was a little bit awkward, but they managed to get through unscathed. It was kind of like a no after you kind of situation.
Really has a great exit on Parabolica, does Westy there. Westy has the fastest lap of the race now, the 1:38.359. But I think time is going to be his nemesis now. So let's take a look down the left side. They've got Simon Bacon, and haven't checked in with him for a while. He's just comfortably in 6th position there in that Mustang. Barrett we've seen. Lauren Martin's just about to get through Simon here. 4th place P2's coming through.
the gap for the GT3 lead is pretty much stable at 6 seconds. You can see that changing. Still got 18 minutes to go.
Sylvie's about to put 5th place Andrew Harper down this lap if he can catch him. He's right behind him. He's just going to let him through, so. Andrew pulling aside, letting the 2nd place P2 through. Has no race with him. He's not going to lose anything.
So looking forward to stuff that we're doing with SimracingOnline. We've got a bit of a stacked, it all seems very stacked, the schedule. It all seems to come at once. But 10th of February, we will be doing a Euro Formula 3 in Automobilista 2. So that's on Tuesday. On February the 14th, Valentine's Day, on Saturday, I will be broadcasting the Group 5 DRM 70s to 80s Championship, which should be fun. I can't remember what track we're at this time. Zolder. We're going to Zolder. That should be mega fun. And then February the 15th, on the Sunday, will be the Mazda MX-5 Championship. I'm competing in that one. That should be at Virginia Raceway, so that should be very interesting, bumping over those curbs and hopefully not spinning it over the crests. Then Monday, the 16th of February, will be the last round of the Automobilista 2 Holiday Group C. Unfortunately, I've missed a couple of rounds in this, but we'll be back for the last round in Interlagos.
Yeah, great track for those cars.
And then, indeed, I'm scared of the cars. They scare me. That's right. But we'll be heading for our 3rd round of the Assetto Corsa Evo Championship between the BMW M4s and Maseratis. That will be at Spa, won't it? Yeah, that will be Spa on the 21st of February. And then a new series that will be starting on March 5th, which will be broadcast, which is the F1 1950s Grand Prix Series. So be sure to join up at SimracingOnline.co.uk for that.
Wow. So, that was a mouthful, Woody. And in the meantime, Lauren Martin just had it off and allowed Andrew Harper. They're both fighting for that 4th position, and Andrew just took 4th away from Martin with a slide off into the gravel. So, see if he's got anything to come back with. He's got 15 minutes to come back and get that spot. We shall see. There is Hugh Smith, currently 10th in the GT3s. It's right up there in the beginning, so that pit stop really hurt him. He must have had some kind of damage or something. Got Andrew Harper closing in on him. And of course, right between Andrew is going to be Lauren. So see if Andrew can hold off Martin for the next 15 minutes or 14 minutes or so. He'll be in good shape. This will be another good finish for Andrew in this series if he gets top 5 already, even if he loses this position back. So, good job.
You can see that how the track has got rubbered in over this past number of minutes. Or I say minutes. It's been like what 45?
Yes,
or more, over an hour. So the track is pretty dark. It's not gone up in temperature too much, so these guys aren't suffering from large tyre temperatures or anything like that. But I suppose thankfully they haven't got any rain to contend with. As I think Monza can be particularly treacherous on some of the high-speed parts, and just getting these cars stopped in the rain is quite difficult. So at least be thankful there are no spots of rain.
Yeah, the weather gods were good to the guys today at Monza. When this track gets wet, it could be a disaster.
I think if the guys were possibly running in the restricted version of the P2s, it would be a lot more difficult to lap some of the GT3s at Monza. And I know it's very tight on the brakes for even the unrestricted P2, and I can't remember how far away. As I say, they were topping about 300 at the end of the straight, and about 260 for the GT3s. So they would be a lot closer than that because they run, I think, 20 less horsepower than the unrestricted. But still, the downside sometimes of the P2s is just the visibility is shocking. In the cockpit, you're kind of really cramped, and even when you look side to side, you've still got parts of the cockpit in the way. So you have to rely on your spotter. You have to rely on the radar. So GT3s have got to be a bit aware that the P2s have a little bit of a visibility problem.
Oh, as we watched
As
Lauren
the
Martin.
P2 goes around,
Yeah. Listen, he was trying to make his plea back for that position. He could be pulling out. He's pulled out. 12 minutes ago, is he going to retire the car? Yep, he retired the car. So, our fourth DNF is going to be Lauren Martin. Just didn't have enough left, I guess, to finish. And he will be right there, I'm sure, in 5th place. He's not going to lose a position. So, on to the next round for Lauren. But we're not done here yet. Sylvie's got that 11 seconds and 11 minutes. So, unless he can turn on the NOS, hit the turbo button. It's going to take a mistake by Fischler. Get Tanner up in that P1.
Yeah, considering Tanner went straight line at the first chicane, this is a hell of a comeback.
Yes. And he followed the
hold
rules.
your breath and make your way through.
Right. And you want to state that he did make that foul, and then he followed the rules and gave all those spots back, and has since then found himself on the podium. So really good drive for Tanner today. Could be driver of the day. Could be Tanner. I don't know.
Yeah. I imagine he was just maybe caught out by cold brakes at the, he was perhaps used to coming into the first turn with hot brakes as he does in quali. But he pressed the pedal and nothing happened, and he did the right thing. He headed to the inside where no one would be, and hoped that he wouldn't spear anybody because they weren't quite at turn 1. So good job for avoiding everybody, and then good sportsmanlike behaviour to let everyone back through.
Yes. Well deserved 2nd place right now. And the gap, since it's now 12 seconds, I think this last 10 minutes, it's just got to be consistent. Hold on, hit your mark. Forget about the lap times. Just hit your apexes, get in rhythm, and finish the race.
I always find like the last parts of the races are all difficult as a driver, because you've spent like nearly an hour and 40 minutes trying to stay concentrated, and when there's no one in front of you, I find it a lot more difficult to pace yourself unless you're kind of chasing lap time. But it's very easy to get distracted when you've got nothing going on. You at least want to either be passing someone or someone be lapping you. Just keeping the concentration, keep, as you say, hitting your marks and keeping up that lap time, because consistency is absolute key, because you don't want to do a fast lap 1 minute and then suddenly drop off the face of the earth. So it's very easily done at Monza, I think, when it's so the corners are there's not a lot of them,
all 11 of them
into some of the turns, like particularly turn 1. All 11 of them, yeah. You don't want to get it. You don't want to outbrake yourself into turn 1. But thankfully, some of these circuits have been adjusted. So if you do make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. You're not going to be hitting a wall. But some of the faster turns, if you get one wheel on the grass, the walls are very, very close.
On over here. Westy getting through there.
So that gap hasn't changed. It's still about 47, 46 seconds to the leader. So I think he's just run out of time, run out of lap time to be able to close even further. He's even 35 seconds to second place. And it's hard actually on our control panel to see the last lap time, unfortunately, so we can't check his pace. But he is the fastest car on the circuit, so he will get some bonus points for that.
Correcto. And then Lewis Middleton has the fastest lap for the GT3, so he'll get an extra little bonus if he can finish this off. He's got 7 seconds on Jones. There is Jones. So, well, what does 7 seconds look like? I think you can just see him at the end of the straight there at the Parabolica.
And the length of the back straight.
Yeah. So 7 minutes to make up 7 seconds.
It's doable, but you need to have a bit of a pace advantage.
Yeah. It's going to take a mistake, I think, by Lewis, and that's not very likely. There is Lewis.
I heard from many drivers as well that obviously when you're in a rhythm and you're hitting your marks and everything, I think the last thing you want to do is lift off. You don't really want to back off because you're in a rhythm. You've been doing the same corners for the last hour and 40 minutes, and you want to keep going the same way. You don't want to kind of change your rhythm, because changing your rhythm and it would start upsetting the balance, I guess.
Yeah, that is 100% correct.
But I mean, as sim races, you have different problems, like first world problems. It's not like a real driver where you got to monitor your temperature. Well, you do have to monitor your temperatures and stuff in these cars, but I mean more so you have to hope that the car stays together. Is not going to have an apparent mechanical failure, but you don't really have that in these. They're so reliable. It's more to do with thinking about, oh, it's Sunday. Don't let your mind drift off to Monday morning. Don't think about, oh, you've got an itch or something. You've got a VR headset on that's getting a little bit sweaty. All those sort of sim racing problems. So if you've been following this game, I believe it's coming up to some kind of anniversary. I think it's nearly 2 years after it came out of early access. It seems like a long time, but it's had many content and core updates. I think we are due one in February or March, because I think there is another car and a track getting released, an LMP3, and I believe it's Catalonia in Barcelona that's going to get released as DLC. So there's a lot more to come, but we'll possibly have like announcement videos of what the future of Le Mans Ultimate holds, because there's normally a surprise.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm generally happy with the sim. I really like it. I'm a big RF2 fan, so I can definitely make the transfer. I can see the similarities, but then I can also see what's all new about it, that it's not RF2. So, but it does have that flavor. But the way the force feedback works, I really like it. We watch our leader.
Under 4 minutes to go.
In Pichler's nice pace. Westy's still holding the fastest lap, as well as Middleton. So we're coming up on a few laps left. It could be 2 more after this. Next one could be the white.
just over a lap to go for the team leader. It's Pichler, Selby, Westy, Harper, and Martin. Usually DNF, but he will stay in 5th place. And then we have the LMGT3s, Middleton, Jones, Pereira, Hagman, and Tasker. So all the action was at the main part of the race, plus those pit stops. We've got to find out what happened at those pit stops.
Indeed. As Middleton puts Hugh Smith down a lap in the GT3s. So minute 37 to go. It looks like there's probably going to be one more after this at this pace. 39, maybe not, but here is your leader. That was Larry Thomas that Pichler just got around there. Sylvie's not too far behind. It's still that 11 gap. Very consistent. And then Westy, about the same gap. So nobody's really going anywhere. A little bit of traffic here. Curious to see where Pichler lines up with the clock. We're at 44 seconds.
Yeah, it looked like he came up upon that McLaren and braked hard. He didn't look like he was wanting the chance to get squeezed through at turn 1 because it is a bit tight. But 28 seconds to go. He may be just coasting it home. Doesn't want to coast it home too far because that gap for Selvey is only 12 seconds. He would have to slow it down quite significantly if he was going to cross the line.
We better get on the brakes.
At
Got
0.
10 seconds. So I think we're going one more.
Yeah, it was 4 seconds across the line with 4 seconds to go.
Yeah.
I think he was slowing down a little.
I agree. Here comes Sylvie. All right, the white flag is out. This is our final lap. Step down here to Lewis Middleton. He's about to put somebody down a lap. There's Lars. Where is this guy? And here's the gap back to Grant Jones just now in the chicane. And somebody's pulled over. It's Hugh. Hugh Smith has lost it in the turn 1 chicane. And there it goes. Westy gets through. Not going to cost him anything. And Pichler now starting sector 3. Last time today. About to take the checker to take round 3. Monza. That's a nice trophy to have, Monza. And here he comes now. There is your winner, Philip Pichler, taking the checkered flag. A really nice run today. Coming in second is Selby. Coming out of the Parabolica. Second place. Well done. Westy's fighting his way through. Where is Lewis? Harper's going to come through just ahead of Lewis, I believe. A couple laps down. So there's your 4th place, Andrew Harper. And here comes your GT3 winner, Lewis Middleton, in that McLaren, taking it all the way. Nice job, Mr. Middleton. Grant Jones coming in second. McLaren dominating with Dino Piera going to take third. All of the P2s are in and done. Here he comes.
Right, so I've done some provisional maths here.
All right.
So with Pichler winning the P2s at Monza today, he will still line up second. Nick Westy still leads the championship with 116. This isn't including any of the provisional faster lap points or anything, but they aren't really close enough at the moment. Third will be Tanner Selby with 86. Bruno Neves will be on 82 in fourth. And Lorne Martin in fifth place in the championship with 76 points.
Awesome.
In a GT3 class, Lars Hagman now leads the championship, but only by 1 single point. So it's going to come down to some bonus points to dispute that over the rest of the season. But Lewis Middleton with that win pops up into second with 99. Grant Jones in third with 94. Dino Pereira in fourth with 91. And Michael Rizzo drops from the top to fifth place with 82. So missing out one round can dent your championship chances, but we still have rounds 4 to 8 to go.
Yes. Wow. Well, the wrecks weren't there today. Did we even have a crash? A couple of self spins, right? That's all we had, as we are now going into no man's land.
I mean, they were very clean in turn 1. I was expecting, we were holding their breath for turn 1, but no particular worries apart from Tanner Selby getting his braking all wrong. But thankfully took to the grass and was able to get through unscathed. But other than that, no particular dramas. But I would love to find out from some of the drivers about some of the pit stop mishaps, because there was a couple of people that came in 2 or 3 times, so I wonder whether there was penalties involved or stop and goes or drive-throughs. But so we'll have to find out about that for next round.
Yes, next round, which will be the 24 hours of Le Mans simulated in a 2-hour session. Jump on board for that one. I think the rain is in the forecast. Let's hope it's in the daytime so everybody can see. Other than that, check out the site. Check everything you need for SimRacingOnline at simracing.co UK, and check out what's next on the menu. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next time. That's it for us, and I'll see you on the outro.